Hey, hey, what's up? I don't know. so, I felt compelled to do this a little bit earlier than the norm because I don't know exactly. It's in the stars. That's why. And yeah, I've been following Steve Judd and other people, astrologers, and I'm already feeling what they're saying is going to be the biggest thing of the year this month, from here until the end of the month. And what it is Jupiter that's now entered Leo, opposing.
Where are we going?
We're not going anywhere, man.
No, like after you're doing that, where are we going? To like eat.
To eat?
No, to sing.
To sing?
No.
Okay, so I can't talk right now, okay? I'm doing a live right now on YouTube. That's my little neighbor boyfriend. Okay, so back to what I was saying. So now Jupiter, the biggest planet, the expansive, big, happy planet that gives us joy and happiness, has moved into Leo the Lion, and it's opposing Pluto in Aquarius, amongst some other things. So when there's an opposition, it's a difficult transaction. It's an opposition. It's like against each other. And it creates a degree of polarity, especially when it's the power planet of Pluto against the big planet of Jupiter. And then there's some other things that are also at 4 degrees. The Pluto is that's also around that degree. So when they're really exact, really close to exact to being the same degrees, then it intensifies, it makes it really intense. So whenever you have something like this going on, you've got to really choose your actions well. Okay? So I remember back in February, we had this Uranus in the early degrees of Aquarius. Or no. Yeah, I think it was Aquarius. Anyways, no, it was Aries. Okay? So it was Aries. We had several things in the early degrees of Aries, and it was really intense. And that's, I believe, when the war started, and also when Trump did his thing to Venezuela, and also when he was threatening Greenland. Remember all of that? Okay, so Aries the warrior, and then we had several things going on in that 0 degree of Aries that just amplified everything fire-wise. Now we're going to have all of these 4-degree things. Hi, J Moose. We're going to have all of these 4-degree things happening at the same time around the 21st. And then towards the end of the month, like the 29th, we're having the full moon. Now, in just a couple of days, we're having the new moon in Cancer. And then we'll have the full moon in Leo. But, so if you really want to watch a really knowledgeable, well-known astrologer, check out Steve Judd and watch his most recent video that I just watched. It's really good, really good. But his message is to don't overreact to things that are going to happen over the next several weeks. Drama. Okay. Cool. So there's going to be a lot of people losing it. The pressure is really going to be on me because I have my Mercury and Venus in Leo at 3 degrees. Okay, so I'm already kind of used to having Pluto opposing those in my 12th house of spirituality. All of this has been really, really trying for me. Seriously, so much stuff for me. So much. And I've had to really learn to not react as much as possible. It's not to, okay, let me reiterate that. Let me restate that. It's not to not react all the time, because you got to defend yourself. I did that today. But you don't always have to react, and you've got to be really choosy. You got to realize when it's in your best benefit to defend yourself, to say something, to react, and when it's just a worthless pile of dung. Okay, so if you're trying to be funny, that's the end of it, J Moose. Beyond this, you're out of here. Hello, Joe. I think he's or her is just trying to be funny or stupid or get some attention. But in any case, what I'm trying to tell you is, like in an instance like with this, somebody making a funny ass comment, you don't have to overreact to it. You can just let it go. And so, yeah, I think that's mostly what I want to say today. Everyone is doing their healing, and each of us has our gifts, and each of us has our attributes, and all of the opposite negative scenarios. And it's good to keep that in perspective. And it's good to have a degree of polarity. But over the next 2 or 3 weeks, until at least the end of the month, it's good to be particularly aware of your surroundings, what's going on, and be very choosy about how and where and what you do and say. And then after the first of this month, according to at least Steve Judd, everything's going to mellow out. And most of the drama of this year, he says, is over. And that's a really good thing. That's a really good thing. We are in, so you know, a rethinking, reorganizing time in our lives. A lot of things, as you can see, as much as you can tell, are changing. Can you feel it within yourself? Can you see it outside of yourself? Many minds and feelings are changing, progressing. Things that were stuck before are getting unstuck now. And change is always hard. Change is always hard, and it's important that I tell you these things because that's what I do. And it's important that you know what's going on if you don't already. So sometimes the weather's crazy outside. Sometimes it's doing all kinds of things. And sometimes it's a sunny day and it's gentle and there's no wind at all. And it's warm and it's the perfect temperature, etc., etc. Right now, with humans and at least animals too, we are radically being affected by astrological changes and other things that we definitely don't understand. If these things didn't happen, I think that we would just stay the same. We would not evolve. And we have expanded for so much now, for so long, that it's really good that we come back to equilibrium, calmness. And this month is cool. We're gonna have a lot of craziness going on, at least into August, and it's gonna mellow out after that. But still, it's not gonna just go back to any kind of what it was before. There's a lot of changes that have to happen. And just Pluto in Aquarius for the next, I think it's more than a decade. It's closer to 20 years, I think. You can check that out. Just that alone, this power planet being in the progressive sign of Aquarius, that alone is going to create a lot of change. For the better, it's all for the better. But hold on to your hats. You can see all the weather changes literally happening, getting more intense all the time. The fires in Utah, my home state, are still blazing. Down around where Joe grew up. Mostly. And some north of there, where I was born. Some in the mountains close to Payson, Utah, where I was born. So for me, one of the things that I'm feeling, I feel the need to break loose. especially ever since Jupiter went into Leo and is getting closer to Mercury, my Mercury and Venus in my birth chart, 3 degrees. I think Jupiter's now at 2 degrees, super close. I feel the need to break loose. And yeah, I have been just asking girls out without fear. Just saying exactly what I'm thinking with them. And I've mostly been getting turned down. But I don't really care. They've been very, very nice because, like I said, I just told them, if I see someone cute, then I just say, hey, I think you're cute. And I thought I'd ask you out or something like that. Whatever is flowing through me at the time. And yeah, it's kind of forward. But that's me. That's just how I am. With that Mercury and Venus exactly at 3 degrees of the Lion, Leo. Mercury, communication. Venus, arts and expression and the feminine and music, etc. And so, yeah, Jupiter is just expanding them, but with Pluto in opposition, powerful Pluto in opposition to them at 4 degrees right now, it puts a damper on all of that. And it's probably for the best with me. I guess. But it's so cool to know astrology and to see what's going on. It's kind of like most people, not just about everyone, checks the weather, whether it be on the internet or on their phone or on the television, whatever it may be. You can tell what the satellites are looking at. You can see what's going to happen. With astrology and noticing the signs, it takes that to a new level. And it's really, really cool for the most part if you accept it. And when you accept it, you come to realize a lot of things. You realize your greatness, but you realize your limitations. That for just being a single being. You realize possibly that this might just be a simulation that we're living. And that's a rather interesting thought. And then if you monitor your dreams and you wake up and you're like, wow, what's going on while I'm sleeping? It's been a mixed bag for me lately. Okay, so check this out. There are no coincidences. Last weekend, I believe it was, I met a girl outside the food place that I go to. And she looked cute, pretty healthy. And so I asked her out, and she gave me her phone number. And I got home later that day, and I saw that she'd made a comment on one of my videos that she doesn't think that all women are gold diggers. I didn't use that word. She did, I believe. She doesn't think that. A lot of people take me literally, like, for instance, like as an example, a comparison. The Republicans will say that the people want this and the people want that. It's just a generalization. The Democrats will say the same thing. You know, they're trying to convince everyone that the people, everyone, wants things to be the way they say. And so I think that we tend to generalize. And if I say something like that, you know, that I usually will say a lot of women are looking for security, like I did last week. I said, I think my mom married my dad for the security for at least a degree of money, because my grandparents owned the grocery store in a small town. And people, if you're not towards the center, okay, so here's the dilemma. Here's my biggest challenge, and you can relate this to astrology and oppositions and squares. Okay, so in oppositions and squares are challenging aspects. So me, I like art a lot, and I like inventing art, and I like working with natural materials. And I live in a place where there are a lot of artists, but there are a lot of opposite artists, like conservative Trump supporter types, especially out in the country. And where I lived before in that trailer, remember that little Airstream trailer I lived in years ago? And so all of that creates a clash. It creates polarity. And within me, there are clashes within me and that I project in different ways. In order for a person to like and or love me, they have to get used to, they have to get to know who I am. And if you jump to a conclusion from my having said something or multiple things that you don't agree with, you might want to think about whether they're really true or not, and to what degree. Because I will not tell you anything that's not at least to a pretty darn good degree true. Like if I say that so much of humanity has gotten fake, if I say that, I really mean it. And I'll give you a bunch of examples. I'm not going to do that right now because I do that enough. But once again, people don't like being scrutinized. How many of you have Virgo vibes in your chart? I have the moon in Virgo, and it's prominent. Virgo analyzes everything and nitpicks everything. Virgo has a lot of wonderful qualities about it, but you have to control your Virgo. You got to control your Virgo because people really don't like being judged. So Virgo likes to analyze things, and therefore it likes to be a judge. I made a whole video on that subject not too long ago. And if we didn't have Virgo, then there wouldn't be a lot of improvements made in the world. People wouldn't get called out on a lot of things. And for a lot of people that aren't living up to very good expectations, it's a lot of pressure on them if they feel as though they're subpar. Bogeys. In golf, you've got birdies, you've got eagles, which means you get the ball in 2 below par. You've got birdies, which means that you get it in 1 below par. Par is even. I'm giving you a golf lesson. I haven't played golf in decades. God bless the people that still want to play golf. But watch George, what's his name, the comedian, and listen to his opinion. Not George Burns, Joe, tell me George's last name. The comedian that's passed now. And he has some interesting golf analogies, but bogeys, a bogey is 1 more than par. If people feel as though they're not, if they're subpar, or in golf case, more than par, then they're really sensitive. And if they're doing their best, leave it alone. Y'all know that I think that a lot of people aren't, they're maybe doing their best kind of, but they got themselves into a crappy ordeal because they bought into a bunch of blah, blah, blah from society. And I get it. I've felt the pressure myself. Check this out. When Obama was really pushing getting health care, remember that? And then he fined you if you didn't have Obamacare. If you didn't buy into getting Obamacare by a certain date, then you got fined by the IRS. And I still owe the fine from 3 years, like 2016, 17, and 18, something like that. Yeah. And then, maybe it was a little earlier. Anyways, so I felt the pressure. And so I looked into getting health care, just the minimal amount, right? And then, as I have told you before, the dogs were calling me. Ring, 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 ring. Constantly. The hounds were bugging me to death. And that was such a sign of just how greedy and crooked they are. And such a greed-laden industry. So that's an easy sign, okay? When you go to do something, you just make a call or two or send an email, and then the sales people are just banging on your door to try and get you to buy. So you know that there's a lot of money in that, and that whenever it's bloated, whenever it's just bloated like that, stay away. That's what I did. I just kept blocking them and blocking them until they went away. Anyways, I watched and fell sort of in love with this guy, Holland, recently. Changing the subject. I'm changing the subject. I should go back just briefly, though, because I want to finish what I was saying about, and I think you kind of got what I meant when I was saying that I can kind of generalize, put a lot of people into a basket. And I should be a little bit more specific sometimes. I obviously don't think that all women are gold diggers. But that being said, we live in a world where people, not just women, but you could get a lot of financial pressure on you if you allowed yourself to get into debt. If you allowed that to happen, if you allowed yourself to get pregnant, so many different things that are a financial strain and a time strain on a person, it kind of pushes you to get out of your zone and do things that you wouldn't normally do. Like look for love with money. And people right now, for me, I wonder how in the hell are people living that don't make very much money. So it wouldn't surprise me if a lot of people are looking for avenues of cash that aren't necessarily very ethical. Anyways, but don't just assume. Those of you, thank you, Joe. Thank you. That seems like that's such a lot of money. And nines, I'm gonna have to look up. I'm trying to learn numbers and recognize the meaning of numbers. 9999. Is that $10, Joe? Something like that in Mexican money? Thank you, Joe. Thank you. Late birthday present for you, Brett. Better late than never. Maybe for a frappuccino. Frappuccino. But with plant-based milk, like coconut milk. All right. Cool. I will get me one of them, Joe. I went to a kava bar today that I'd never been to. And people were smoking vapes in there. And I was like, should I escape? Should I get the hell out of here? But it didn't seem to be. It's $5.50 USD after YouTube deducts 16% VAT for Mexican IRS. All right. Well, thanks, Joe. Thank you. That pays for a little bit of my gas today. But so I went to a kava bar and I was thinking about getting out of there because some people were vaping, and I noticed before that I'm kind of sensitive to that. I don't know much about vaping, but I at one time I went into a vape shop for some reason, not to buy vape, as you know. But I went in and I smelled that, and I was kind of, my heart was going poo 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 poo. And I was wondering, like, yeah, I better stay away from that. But they were trying to blow it. They were trying to blow it like away from other people. But this kava bar that I went to, obviously there's no alcohol allowed, but they do sell kratom, and I don't think that they sell the weed thing there. You know, in North Carolina, you can actually buy the fake weed that doesn't have THC until you light it up. Does somebody know what that is? You don't get stoned. It doesn't actually have the active ingredient THC until you fire it up, and then it turns to THC and you get stoned. I don't do any of that. And anyway, so I kind of got the feeling that this was an alternative place for people that were drinkers before to go. So it's cool for a lot of people. And there was some kind of extreme vibe there. Like a couple of people had pit bull looking dogs, and they were barking at each other in the bar. That was, thank God, towards the end of my stay. But the bartender was cool, and I met some cool people. The people to the right of me were also cancers, and they were vaping. I don't recall what they were drinking, but I just got a coffee, and that's the coffee I got, and it's good. It's Ethiopian, which is really some of the best coffee that I've drank. I've kind of been getting into Mexican coffee, Joe, organic Mexican beans, and Peruvian. I've found that I'm just kind of wandering on these subjects. I started out drinking Costa Rican, and the Costa Rican has to it, you know, it's just wet. It's just wet. You grind it, and it's so moist that it's sticking to the inside of the grinder, and you smell it, and it's just pungent, you know. But if you're just joining us, you should know to stay cool for the next 2 to 3 weeks till the end of the month. I want to just go back just a little bit here. If you're just joining us, you should know, you should either go back and watch the first of the video, or just know that over the next 2.5 weeks or so, till the end of the month, till the full moon on the 29th of July, we're going to go through what is being called probably the most intense time astrologically and energetically of the year. We've already gone through cumulatively the majority of the most intense times, but individually we have this period of where Jupiter is being opposed by Pluto in a fire and air sign, Leo and Aquarius, and they're also aspecting 2 other elements, Uranus and Neptune, at 4 degrees. And then the moon is always changing its position daily. And every time that does something, like on the 29th, the full moon, that amplifies all of that even more. So I'm not a great astrologer like Steve Judd, but you could watch Steve Judd's if you're interested in this, and you don't have to know much about astrology. You can just listen to what he tells you, like what I'm telling you right now, that you need to stay centered. React if you need to, but don't react if you don't need to all the drama of the world for the next while. And I'll admit straight out, because my Mercury communication and my Venus art and expression and music and the feminine, etc., those are together exactly at 3 degrees of Leo and being directly aspect by these two things, Jupiter and Pluto. I'm going to be, and am today, a bit flamboyant. Okay? So, if I exaggerate things, I'm trying not to. Try to understand. But beware that this is real. It's not just me being somewhat flamboyant. It is real. And so if somebody pushes your buttons, but it's not really worth bothering pushing theirs back, don't. Just be proud. Here you go. Just be neutral, or don't push back very hard, or be logical when you push back and neutralize their vibe. Just neutralize it, and then it'll fade away. That's cool. You probably like Blazing or Garrett, the organic coffees. Profecto and Better Business rated Blazing or Garrett. Are those counties in Mexico, Joe? Biasen and Garat. The best. They would have to be somewhat right in between the deserty areas and the more tropical regions, right, of Mexico. Because that's where you get the best coffee, right, Joe? That's why Ethiopia is really good. I'm just trying to find a good bean, some good beans from places that are really temperate. If it's like too, like, not bland, but yeah, I guess you could say bland, then I'll throw in a little bit of Costa Rican when I grind it. That just gives it some punch, you know? But, man, I have to pee. Okay, so hang loose. Ugh. Sometimes you might think that something that's going on in the world has something to do with you. And perhaps it does. But like the Four Agreements says, don't jump to conclusions about things, because it might not have anything to do with you. And the world is so complex. There's so much going on within the psyche of your mind and other people's minds. And we live in a very expanded, too much of everything practically, but not enough of a lot of things. It's an imbalance, you know. So what you want is to get a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and try and fill the voids in your life. And don't jump to conclusions if something's not coming your way. Think about the energy of that thing and compare it to other things. Compare it to other things and ask if those things that are similar are related. If those things are not directly related, and most of the time I'll bet you they're not, then that shows you just a generalization of what's going on. And that generalization is a clue to help you to know what to do, to ebb and to flow and be patient. Be patient and allow the energies to manifest and to resolve. There are so many things that are getting resolved everywhere. And something that may appear to be a bad thing, it may sound like it's sad or whatever. In so many different ways, it can just be that if you can somehow see the good, if you can somehow give it time, if you can somehow just breathe in difficult moments, lay on the floor flat on your back and stretch your body and feel for where it's tight and sore, and physically massage those areas and then stretch them. Sometimes when you've reached a dead end, you've hit a dead end in some regard, or also another regard, several things, you just have to keep knocking on different doors until someday one of them cracks open and something peeks out to see who it is. So you just keep investigating to see what works, what doesn't, why, where, what, how. And the more refined you've refined yourself, the more doors you're going to have to knock on. That's what I'm doing. You won't get in trouble. You'll be all right. Talk to yourself. Tell yourself these things. Feel people's energy. Know where they're at. Ebb and flow. Ebb and flow. If you got knocked down, get back up. Everyone makes mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. Try to just make small mistakes, little mistakes. I really like how YouTube has become more accepting of me. I can say swear words if I want to, if I really need to. YouTube is now not creating pop-ups that say, "Are you sure you want to say that?" A little pop-up that says, "Are you sure you want to say that?" Well, yeah, I really want to say the F word, the S word, whatever. Then, yeah. Today I was wearing a special shirt. I think I'll share it with you. I threw it in the garbage. Now I have to get it out of the garbage. All right. Yeah, Haka, Veracruz, Chapadas, on the side. So when I got home, I was like, I'm gonna fix this shirt so that it's more presentable. I'm gonna fix this shirt so that I can wear it next weekend, right? Because I get to the dance today, and I wore this for some reason heavy cotton shirt. It's kind of a thick cotton shirt that I got for 25 cents at the thrift store, right? And it wasn't like this morning. It was just a regular full shirt. But you know how I keep all the good tools that you need in my car? Well, I have 2 pairs of scissors in the car, and I learned that one of them isn't very sharp. But in any case, I went and grabbed a pair, and I said to the facilitator, I want to cut this down, and I knew that, men aren't supposed to show their nipples. Right? So at this dance, men aren't supposed to show their nipples with a shirt. If you want to cut it off halfway, then you can do that. But I wanted to make something kind of cool, decorative, and so I started cutting away. I'm cutting all this material off, and my left nipple was sometimes showing when I was dancing. And I was like, ah, it's not a big deal. No, it's not too big a deal, right? I'll have to take this off for you to show you. You know, we can do this on YouTube, but you can't do it at the dance. I can be like in my underwear on freaking YouTube now, thanks to Donald Trump. I don't know how much we can talk about the jab, but everything is a lot more allowable. Unless you say something about Trump. If you say something about him, the FBI will become knocking on your door. You know what I mean? I got to take this off. I got home and I sewed it, and then I got the clue from creation. Nah, that's not going to work either. Clues are everywhere, my friends. The clues, if you know how to recognize them. It didn't rip correctly. Anyway, so there. It didn't look that bad. It didn't look that bad. It was, my left nipple was covered pretty much, but not always when I was dancing. Anyways, so like, this is what I mean by, we don't overreact, right? So after the dance, this girl was like calling me out on it, right? She's calling me out, like, it's so disrespectful towards women to show your bare chest and your nipple. Okay, so I'm like, oh god, yeah. I just got a little bit crazy with the scissors. I didn't mean to. And the director lady was like, oh, it'll probably be all right. Don't worry about it. It wasn't. But that's what I mean about how things are amplified right now. If people feel like they want, I mean, if there's something to complain about right now, they will. If there's something that's under the hat, that's being hidden under a hat, it's going to get revealed. Somebody is going to complain. I thought it was cool. You know? Then I was talking to this dude at the grocery store, told him what happened. And check this out, you'll laugh. Years ago, the women were complaining in Asheville that it was wrong that they couldn't be topless. So now, I guess, I'm going to look it up for you. I'm going to look it up for you right now. They passed a law that says that women can be topless in public in Asheville. Let's look that up. I want to see if it's true. I believe that that's the case. I believe that I remember those protests of the women saying, you know, and then they had like a parade or something of topless women. And so they're either complaining about it or at this dance, they're complaining that the men showed too much nips. Just obscure, my friends, just obscure. People are so nudity immature. And this is like, you would think in Asheville. So what it is, let me tell you what it is. Women rule liberal towns. And so, and the feminine, Venus, is very dramatic. The women, it's drama. It's drama, and yes, Venus is very money. For those of you that don't think that there is a very strong degree of wanting money and materialism, look up Venus, the feminine, in astrology. Look up what the meaning is. Not just music and art and the feminine and sweetness. It is also money and materialism. Okay? In the second house. And so anyway, so let's see if it's legal. Let's ask Google AI. Let's ask Google AI, because I think they're better from my experience than ChatGPT. Is it legal to be topless in Asheville, NC? Wait, for women. For women. Yes, it is legal for women to be topless in public in Asheville, North Carolina. I'll prove it to you. Now, of course, some people will say AI is wrong a lot of the time. This is not one of those things. So, state law in 1970, North Carolina Appeals Court ruled that female breasts are not legally considered private parts. Therefore, showing them does not constitute indecent exposure under the state constitution. Okay, so maybe it's not just Asheville. Maybe this is a state thing, okay? So for you North Carolina girls that want to show your breasts in public, let me read on. While North Carolina law allows individual municipalities to pass local ordinances banning public toplessness, the Asheville City Council has not passed such a restriction. It's not just an Asheville thing. It's state legal to be topless in public for women. Important boundaries and exceptions. Location limits. This legality applies specifically within Asheville city limits. Neighboring towns or surrounding counties may enforce different local ordinances. Federal lands. Okay, so like on the parkway, right? The federal parkway, you cannot go topless on federal land. This includes the nearby Blue Ridge Parkway. I guess it. National parks and national forests, which operate under their own federal codes of conduct. Private property. Private businesses, restaurants, and shops retain the right to enforce their own dress codes, such as no shirt, shoes, no service, and can ask you to leave. I went in to get a cup of coffee into a coffee shop today, and that's all I wanted. I just wanted to get a cup of coffee and leave with that shirt on. And I was escorted nicely. The guy was really nice. Right after I had a fun conversation with 2 people, 3 people or more, I had a fun conversation about my coffee cup and other things. and with one of the hostesses too, one of the waitresses too. And I had fun. I had fun for 3 or 4 minutes, and then the head guy said, "We have to go outside." And he said, "You have to wear a full shirt in here." It's a family restaurant. Anyway, so there's that. Events. Because of this law, Asheville routinely hosts advocacy events like the annual Go Topless rally at Pack Square downtown without legal penalty. So yeah, I told you there's an event. Let's see when the event is. When is the topless event in Asheville. The Go Annual Topless Day Rally in Asheville traditionally takes place on the weekend closest to Women's Equality Day, August 26th. That's coming up. Maybe I should go. Really, I made a video. Saying what the sexiest part of the body is. And the sexiest part, I'm not saying that breasts can't be really sexy. They can. Some are a lot sexier than others. But I think that the sexiest part of the body, as once again previously stated, is the abs. And the reason is simple. Because your belly shows the state, the health of your digestive system. It largely does. Your face shows your health a lot, and your hands show your health a lot, and your feet, the extremities, show your health a lot. And those are the places that I've been healing the most over the last several years. I would say that I'm in like a fifth stage of my healing. Initially, getting rid of all processed foods. Each one was hell. Each one was absolute hell. Initially, getting rid of processed foods. Additionally, when I did that, I started reducing wheat and dairy. That amped it up, all of the detox that I was doing. And I wish I could go back and teach myself and tell myself about what somebody else mentioned there, colon cleansing. That was just some kind of a, who knows what they were referring to. But that's for real. If you don't take that seriously, doing enemas, and you're going through getting rid of a lot of toxic waste in your body, imagine how much of that people have to get rid of and how badly they've weakened their immune systems with drugs and pharmaceutical drugs and chemicals. It's scary. It's scary to think about the burden, not just on individuals, but also on society as a whole, that people and industry, and probably a lot more things, have manifested on everyone. So when you think, just as soon as you start thinking that Nabisco or Dunkin' Donuts are to blame and that they're getting off scot-free, nobody is getting out of this one free. Not even me. Nobody is going to get out of this hole that humanity has dug for itself with these modern inventions. And so I get out on a limb. I need some more water. Where was I? Where was I, Joe? So, where was I? The obvious places for sexuality aren't really, when it comes down to it, what's revealing your health the most. The quality of your health the most. Your skin is sexy because it's really showing the quality of your health. And I'm really excited. I'm really happy that I am getting through that extremities. I'm getting through that. I'll show you some examples. Look at my elbow. Okay. So see how there's some redness? See how there's some scaly and dry skin right there on my elbow? See how in this area and this area, the skin looks kind of cakey? Can you see that? See how right there, the skin looks kind of cakey? See how there's wrinkles right there? And that above that is where that sore was right there, and how the skin looks kind of rutty. That's the word, I guess you could say. Not really clear, you know? All of that. And the knuckles. Look at your knuckles. Okay? There are places in your body where stuff gets stuck easier than other places. And people don't realize that your head, underneath your hair, there's skin there. And it's not just your face that gets wrinkles because there's extra skin. You have extra skin on your head. And so in order to get rid of all of that, you have to change the diet. You have to eat acidic foods like kombucha, drinks like kombucha. And also there's an acid in coconut, butter, and oil. There are acids in a lot of different things. And those acids create movement. So apple cider vinegar and kombucha and that water kefir and some other foods, hot foods, create action. And so reducing the salt and reducing the carb foods, carbohydrates and proteins, and you gradually do that. And then gradually you start to lose all of that excess material. But your body has to inflame itself and it hurts. And sometimes your body will scream, hey, stimulate me. Stimulate me right there. That's what I'm doing now. My nails, amazing massage tools, your nails. You can individually scratch when they're itchy. Whenever things are itchy, scratch them. Every day I take this Bass wooden bristle brush. I have a video going back to about 2000, 10 or 11 of where I demonstrate that I take these Bass wooden bristle brushes, no affiliation, no monetization through them, and I massage the skin on my head, and it feels so good. And oftentimes I think to myself about people that have braids or dreads that can't do this. I don't care which way you brush it, both ways, whatever way you want. Stimulate it, and then your mind will also get stimulated. And then you take one of these Bernard Jensen skin brushes, facial brushes, and you massage all the skin. You're going to see how I'm going to keep looking. If you go back and you look at me a year ago or 2 years ago or 3 years ago when I was going through a lot of hell from various reasons, including dietary, getting rid of mass-produced meat, and now it's been about 8 years, and it seems to me like it was true that when someone told me that it takes about 8 years to get through a stage, you quit something, right? It seems about right, because now it's been about 8 years since I quit mass-produced meat, chicken, turkey, and pork, and most red meat except for buffalo, that I am now starting to come out on the other side, starting to get through that door at the end of the tunnel. It feels good to brush your skin. It feels good to scratch your skin. And if you take one of these, or you watch my video on how to take one of these, and then you flatten the edge so that it's got an edge on it. These back scratchers that you can get on Amazon or whatever, on my website I sell them. They don't come with a good tip. You have to take this and put it on some sandpaper. Put it on some sandpaper and go like this. Imagine this is sandpaper. And go like this and get it flat with an edge on it. Get it flat with an edge on it. Then when you go, and once in a while you got to re-hone it. So that when you go like this, you can choke up on it. Right on the spine. And you've got an incredibly long reach with it too. If you hold it like that, you hold it like that, see? My back used to have a lot more rutty skin on it. And now it's looking a lot better, a lot better. And I've gotten rid of so much of it with that tool. They're like $5 on Amazon. If you buy them on my site, you get the sandpapers with the product, and I think something else. But anyways, so all of this stimulation is really required, and all this inflammation is really required. And most people, they either don't want to go through what's required, and a lot of people, they turn to the medical industry. And that gets them into worse and worse trouble. Because just like my grandma, they'll get on one thing and that creates side effects. Then they'll go and look for some other thing to offset the side effects. And the more that you avoid the real healing, the longer you avoid the real healing, the deeper into trouble that you get. And so really, on that note, whenever you find that things seem hopeless, that things seem in despair, it's really important to connect with creation. It always has the answers. You can only do as an individual, I can only do as an individual so much to help people. That's why you mostly have to wait until they ask for help. You can offer. So what I'm doing is I'm just gently offering holistic consultations to people. And I really probably should get into that more. We'll see. Right now it's just day to day still for me. Even though I'm breaking through with some things, at the same time, it's still really slow going. Everything is still, as it's been slow. Like as I was thinking last winter, okay, spring is things are going to get going and things are going to get better. And they did, but only a little bit. And at least according to astrologers, and especially this guy that I watched today, Steve Judd, very, very, very famous English astrologer. Things are going to ease up after the end of this month. Most of the worst trouble astrologically will be over by the end of this month. And so that's a good thing. Until that time, though, it's going to be intense. It's going to be a time when once again you're pressured to stay in the center, to not overreact, to not dwell on drama. Okay? So I want to thank you so much for joining me. Thank you, Joe, for the birthday present. I'll get some sort of something. Are you still there, Joe, or no? There's only 2 people now watching. Now there's 3. Okay. So thank you so much for joining me. if it's whether it's live or whether it's later. I appreciate you, and I hope that you are well. And yeah, I'm enjoying my sewing machine, my new treadle sewing machine. I have 2 of them now. It's just about dark. I'm going to go walk the dog and the boy. I'm going to go walk my dog and my boy, my neighbor dog and boy. And barefoot. I'm going to go do that barefoot. And it's going to be really nice. You all, if you've eaten, it's really good to go walk after you've eaten. If it's grassy and safe to walk barefoot, it's good to go do that. It's really good to listen to birdies and feel nature and know that the more you can work your way into connection with nature and natural things, whether it be food or trees or animals, all of that is a movement. It's all a connection to creation. Absolutely zero doubt in my mind and soul. Natural things are what creation, God, Jesus, Buddha, Allah, Jah, it is that. At least it created it, at least. And so getting back to that is required. It's so important. But you have to make the effort, and you have to take the time. Those things will keep you. Thank you, Joe. You too. Those things will keep you, and those things will get you to a centered place where you can then stay unpolarized to the drama that is about to get slammed on to a lot of people. Depending, the more stuff you have in especially Leo and the first degrees, around 3-4 degrees of Leo or Aquarius, but also the other fire and air signs, those people will be affected the most by the aspects that are happening over the next 2.5 weeks. Okay? So you can check all of that out on astroseek.com, astro-seek.com. It's a free website by this German guy that loves astrology. There are some little ads on the side of it, but it's free. You can put in all your info. You have to know the time you were born. You don't have to, but if you want to see the house placements and also the exact moon placement of your birth time, which is called your birth chart, then you can go to astroseek.com and check it out. You can watch Steve Judd on YouTube. You can watch Meredith of Soul Navigation. You can watch Tom at Tom's channel is called New Paradigm. Don't ask me how to spell paradigm again, because I forget. Paradygm, I think. New Paradigm Astrology. Tom is really good. And those are the main ones that I check out. And there are God knows how many thousands of others. But you can see what we're going to be going through. But find yourself an astrologer that you like and listen to what they say about the next 2 or 3 weeks. And you'll see that don't buy into too much drama, because they'll get over dramatized as well. But yeah. Thanks for joining me, and I hope that you are well.